Oh, greetings, one and all, to Beyond Satanic number 5 with your host, Wolf King. What the fuck? Okay, let me just get rid of that. Yeah, I had no idea what that was. Some ridiculous nonsense. Anyway, let's see, what do we have here? Before I begin the live stream, I mean, technically, this already is a live stream, but in any case, before I begin talking about random spontaneous topics or whatever, I'm gonna give an invocation just to start things off. Now, just a moment. All right, here we go. Let us stand now unbound and unfettered by arcane doctrines born of fearful minds in darkened times. Let us embrace the Luciferian impulse to eat of the tree of knowledge and dissipate our blissful and comforting delusions of old. Let us demand that individuals be judged for their concrete actions, not their fealty to arbitrary social norms and illusory categorizations. Let us reason our solutions with agnosticism in all things, holding fast only to that which is demonstrably true. Let us stand firm against any and all arbitrary authority that threatens the personal sovereignty of one or all. That which will not bend must break, and that which can be destroyed by truth should never be spared by its demise. It is done. Hail Satan. Thank you. All right, now that we have all that shot the way, we can begin the show. So, what's news recently? Okay. Okay, delay. Obama has blood on his hands. Interesting.
He thinks Black Lives Matter is part of the long-standing tradition of protesters and protesting. I just think he continues to send a very, very dangerous message.
Well, Steve, the president has blood on his hands. These cops' blood are on his hands. There is no way that a president of the United States should support anybody that calls for the death of cops, that walks in the streets calling for the death of cops. He should be condemning Black Lives Matter for what they're doing. He should be investigating people that are inciting riots and inciting the killing of cops, rather than trying to excuse their behavior. Their whole narrative is absolutely wrong. There is no statistic anywhere that shows that as a trend or as a worldview, the cops in this country are biased, are racist, or go after blacks just because they're blacks. There's nothing that shows that that is the case. And for the president of the United States to support what Black Lives Matter is doing is going to cause more deaths amongst our cops in this country.
Yeah, okay. The problem is BLM never called for the murder of police officers. They just called for more objectivity with regard to police brutality in the United States. And for this random fuck to say that the president has blood on his hands is ridiculous. This is a result of radical vigilantes, not the president nor of a grassroots movement. Granted, there are some factions of it that has lost its way and is focusing more on the SJW thing, which makes it more problematic to get its message out there. To say that they're calling for the death or blood of cops, I mean, that's just a straw man. That's bullshit. But moving on. Let's see. Jones and D'Souza with diagnosing Hillary with psychopathy. Okay. Psychopathy.
Since Hillary is the topic of it, we do veer into the horror genre. We couldn't avoid that. So there's a little bit of that in the movie too. But the point is this. People always come to me and say,
they're still talking about that shitty movie? Fuck, I thought that was over with.
Dinesh, make a movie about Obamacare. Dinesh, make a movie about immigration. But people don't go to movies to get messaging. They don't go to movies even to be educated. They go to movies to be entertained. And we know that. So we make actually a very entertaining movie, which leaves you not only intellectually empowered, but emotionally moved and ready to act.
And it is horror. So you got interrupted at the break, getting into her defending sexual predators. So let's talk about the story.
You know what's so creepy about it is this is Hillary in a little younger age, and of course Hillary is such a chameleon that when she's narrating the story, it's her own voice. Remember, in some of the most powerful passages in 2016 were Obama talking in his own voice, and the reason we had his own voice is that he read his own book, Dreams of My Father, from my father in audiobooks. So we could play sections where Obama's telling the story. Well, who could disagree? This is Obama talking about his own mind and his own life. And here we have Hillary in her own voice. Now, she's got the fake Southern accent. And she's kind of putting on, and she's telling the story about this guy who did a rape. Except when you listen to her tone, it is so frigid cold. And then she talks about, I got this guy to take a lie detector test, a polygraph test, which he passed. And then she adds, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs. And then she laughs, her famous cackle. And you actually begin to hear, in a way, this is the first time you say, well, that's actually the voice of evil. That's actually someone who is happy that this guy beat the rape thing and that she got him off. And she thinks it's actually funny.
Wow.
That the guy who did it was able to lie and get out of it.
And for me, it's knowing about how psychopaths and sociopaths are. They have this real self, but everything else is like fake to manipulate. When she goes to California and speaks to a Latino group, she puts on this fake Latino voice. When she goes to Kentucky, she goes, "How you doing there, boy?" Like she's, Grandma Clampett getting some possum grits for you. Hey, I mean, it's like, I would.
Okay, so they're referring to an audio recording of Clinton discussing an alleged rapist in a 1975 trial. While she was working as a lawyer there. But yeah, in some way they are right in the fact that she is a bit of a flip-flopper in this. However, I feel like they're going more into a conspiratorial route, which isn't unheard of for Alex Jones and shit. But their rhetoric is kind of more or less boring. I'm just gonna move on from this. So there was a recent issue with Milo Yiannopoulos and the Ghostbusters star, who was that? I think Leslie Jones, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted to talk about that momentarily.
Prominent conservative pundit Milo Yiannopoulos was permanently banned from Twitter a few days ago. Now, we did a segment on it yesterday. You guys can go check that out. In fact, I'd implore you to go check that out because it's very important to get that total context and everything I said in order to see this update, which is the segment I'm doing right now. But just to give you the cliff notes on that, according to Twitter, he's guilty of, quote, inciting or engaging in the targeted abuse or harassment of Leslie Jones, who's one of the stars of the new Ghostbusters movie. So here's what he said. She was complaining about the fact that she's getting a lot of shit over the movie, and people are tweeting her all types of, you know, racist shit, sexist shit. And I'm not just saying that. I went through her Twitter feed. It's pretty bad. They're calling her Harambe, the gorilla who was shot and killed. They're just sending her pictures of monkeys and baboons, and they're calling her the N-word and coon, and it's bad. Okay, it's bad. So I saw it. I got a thick fucking skin, and even I was like, ugh, that's bad. So she was getting tweets over how shitty the Ghostbusters movie is, and she's like, this is like terrible, man. So he responds to her and says, if at first you don't succeed because your work is terrible, play the victim. And then he said, everyone gets hate mail. So she responded with, you have been reported and I hope they log your account. And I'm hearing this guy as a columnist. How sad. Is this how he gets his readers, through supporting hate? I'm acting like a victim. Nice job. And he responded, barely literate, America needs better schools. And then at some point he also goes on to say, after she blocks him, rejected by another black dude. Now, again, to reiterate here, Milo Yiannopoulos is a gay conservative, and he likes to often talk about the fact that he's into black dudes. And he's comparing Leslie Jones to a black dude. So kind of typical trollish dickishness. But look, based just on that, and I said this the last time, and I'll say it again this time. If these were all the facts, and they banned him as a result of that, I don't agree with Twitter. Because he's just being a dick.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, as provocative as Yiannopoulos can be, and with the kind of position he holds, banning him is not going to help anything. It's not going to actually win an argument. It's just being oversensitive and, excuse me, it's being oversensitive, and rather than dealing with the points he's making, just blocking him out of sheer emotion. Now, I've heard of this actress before. To criticize the movie, there's no problem criticizing the movie. And if he is being a dick, you could very well just troll me. Well, not troll him, but block him at your own leisure. Banning him from the site altogether, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, he didn't tell his viewers to, well, not his viewers, his followers, to go after him, right? No, not to go after him, to go after Leslie Jones. Obviously, he didn't say, hey, fans of mine, go after Leslie Jones, give her all this racist shit because I say so, because I'm Milo. No, he just criticized the way she was dealing with the situation. But that being said, I don't agree with him being blocked from Twitter. I think it's ridiculous, but I mean, I'm not the guy who runs it. I'm just giving my 5 cents on it. So yeah, bring him back on there. But other than that, that's all I could say. I don't agree with this SJW bullshit. Let's have a safe space. Doesn't work. Anyway, moving on to a similar topic like this. Okay. Okay, what we got here? Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so we have a French Canadian comedian. on the world stage, we look like a bunch of buffoons that can't tell the difference between comedy, artistic expression, and real life. Ward told Vice News, we are going to appeal. The ruling passed down by the Quebec Human Rights Tribunal requires Ward to pay $25,000 in moral damages. Moral damages, what the fuck is that? And $10,000 in punitive damages to Jeremy Gabriel, who suffers from teachers' Treacher Collins syndrome, a condition that affects the development of bones and tissues in the face, for a joke he made about him. As shown in 2010, the CBC reported. Ward also been ordered to pay $5,000 in moral damages and $2,000 in punitive damages to his mother, Sylvia Gabrielle. Okay. The tribunal sided with Gabrielle. Hang on. The tribunal sided with Gabrielle, ruling that Ward had infringed on his right to have his disability, honor, and reputation safeguarded without discrimination. What? Safeguard? What the fuck? Rejecting Ward's defense that there was a clear difference between harassment against a person and an artistic work being produced before a willing audience, according to the Canadian press. Ed the Sock, I wouldn't make jokes, he did, but he should have the right to make them. Okay. The family of the 19-year-old who gained recognition in Quebec after being flown to Rome to sing for the Pope in 2006 filed a complaint in 2012 about the bit in Ward's comedy special, in which he made fun of a number of people who he said are generally avoided by comics as fodder for material. The child who got to sing for the Pope, Pippa Jeremy, as Ward called him, Petite Jeremy, as he called him, was one such person. While Ward was initially happy to defend Gabrielle, when others made fun of him, he'd been under the impression that he was terminally ill child, granting a dying wish by the Children's Foundation. He continued, but 5 years later, he wasn't dead. He's not dying. He quipped on stage, the little bastard, he's just not dying. Gabrielle couldn't be killed. He couldn't be killed. Or he continued joking that he'd been successfully trying to drown him once, and that when he looked up every condition online, he found it was being ugly. Gabriel, who could not be reached for the comment, testified at the tribunal that the bit hurt his career and confidence, and it resulted in bullying in school. In September, he said he tried to commit suicide after seeing the video. How do I put that? It's sort of in a similar like sense to the whole Milo Yiannopoulos thing, like kind of in a way, not exactly. I think at best he deserves an apology, I guess. Like, hey kid, I'm sorry for being a dick. I don't know about being forced to pay out the ass. I think that's a bit ridiculous too. I mean, the guy sounds a little ignorant on his condition and may very well just been being a dick on stage, but to have him pay out the ass just because he hurt his feelings, I don't think that. I just don't think that works in my view. I mean, how much was like $100,000 for the kid, and another in demoralizing damages, and then $5,000 to his mom. I mean, I just don't see that working. I don't think. I mean, at least from my view, I just don't think that that's really justified. Kind of bullshit, but whatever. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, I mean, you could have a tougher skin than that. Anyway. Okay, Trump feeds the oppressed Christian narrative in America. Okay. Okay, so at RNC, Trump gets self-reflective on evangelical support by Mary Catherine Ham. Donald Trump surprised his audience at his acceptance speech at the RNC Thursday. He didn't enter to any notable special effects. He remained calm and stuck to the teleprompter for most of the speech. At one time, he straight ad-libbing for a moment in the most unexpected way and talking about the support he received from evangelical voters. He got introspective, quote, "At this point, I would like to thank the evangelical and religious community in general who have been so good to me and so supportive," he said, adding, "I'm not sure I totally deserve it. This is a man who said in a recent discussion on faith he never sought God's forgiveness, explaining that when he feels he's done wrong, he doesn't bring God into that picture. It was so far from a signature unrelenting bombast. Notably, he just touts his poll numbers with the evangelical voters, pat himself on the back, and move on, with little to no appreciation for those people or acknowledgement of how truly odd, morally uncomfortable their alliance with the secular New York City businessman. His unscripted aside seemed to almost sheepishly nod to his own feelings and to just for a split second there might be something to which Donald J. Trump thinks worthy. He's not worthy. The question of the campaign has been and continues to be, can Trump change or grow into a presidential candidate? That tiny moment was an exceedingly rare glimpse of what it would take to do. Yeah. So basically, he sort of panders to that Christian persecution complex. He's trying to make himself sort of be like that for the RNC, just fit into that Christian right kind of framework. The same thing that Ted Cruz was trying to do, but sort of failed. That's why that's why when he tried to speak his mind about Trump getting the nominee, he got ripped to shreds, because he still, I mean, the funny thing about it is when Glenn Beck, right, tried to talk about Cruz like he was Moses, fighting against the Egypt of his day. Ted Cruz is like Moses if he never gave up his position as a prince, basically, and tried to pander to the slaves. That's the best way that works. But yeah, with Trump, at least he's anti-establishment, so he more or less goes beyond what Ted Cruz's Redfin can produce. But yeah. All right, any interesting videos? Let's see if I've missed some good shit. Okay. Has Theodore Schubert said anything insane? Okay. Okay, let's try Tommy Sotomayor. Oh my god, all these fucking ads. Don't worry, the link's about to come up. It just pain in the ass taking a minute. Yeah. The Conjuring's lovely. Let's see the material. Okay. By the pool.
What's going on, America? Everyone. It's your boy, Timmy Sotomayor. Let me see if I can lift this a little bit. There we go. As you can see, I accidentally fell asleep last night in my daughter's room trying to watch them. Woke up and had inspiration. That inspiration came from, I kept seeing the same theme over and over again by black women who say they dislike me. And I want to address it because I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. And if you see the title, you know it has something to do with this thing called karma. If you look up karma, which I don't have it in front of me, what they say is what you put out, basically what you put out into the universe is what you get back. So if you do a lot of evil stuff, you get back correctly. Or correct, and if I'm not wrong on that, I'll write the definition at the end. You guys know I do things impromptu, set it up, and just start talking. I think that's cool over there to see the white boys playing golf right there. They all on the 15th hole, even though it's like 1,000,000 degrees out here. But let me get to the subject. A lot of black women were saying that karma was the reason why I'm now being sued. Karma is the reason why the black woman decided to lie and sue me. Karma is the reason why the black woman who saw the video that works for Progressive Insurance, needed to read it regressive, why she took the side of a World Star Hip Hop video. And karma is why the newest insurance adjuster has said they're just going to pay out. I'm going to do a video, but I'll just point it out right now too so you can see it. If you notice, the woman had something around her neck. And it wasn't for the purposes of just sitting there.
Okay, so so Tommy Sotomayor's thing is he doesn't like black women because some anecdotal bullshit. So he just talks about how black women make him feel butthurt. So I just want to give that get a little note.
And having a fashion statement, it was headphones. I told the insurance company on day one, I saw her as she hit me on her phone. I think I have proof now because of what she has around her neck, which she shouldn't have been having it around her neck, especially if it was on her neck, which means she was probably using it right then. But I'm going to move on to this idea of karma. If you believe that because I talk bad about black women, I deserve to be robbed, I deserve to be hit, things deserve to happen to my kid, and I deserve to die or be beaten up or assaulted, which is some of the comments that you can see. I haven't deleted any. I want you guys to see them in the last few.
Oh my God, you are such a fucking, you're like a little bit of a more well-to-do fucking version of G-Man. People say mean things to me online, so I'm justified to act like an asshole. Even more justified. That's your mindset.
Videos. If you believe this, then let's just play this karma game on out, can we?
Oh, and before you get into your bullshit persecution complex, it's not that if you say these things, you deserve to die and your family deserves to be harmed or any way. It's not surprising that if you act like this to begin with, if you start off with this attitude from point one, it's not surprising that black women, at least more than the few that you have an issue with, are going to call you an asshole or call you out for being one, because not every black woman is out to get you. You have this self-hatred aspect to you that's kind of Uncle Ruckus like from the Boondocks, and anytime you put it out, it's not surprising that it sort of implodes on you because it just makes you look like a self-bigoted hating asshole. That's you. So don't get surprised when you get that hate. But anything else, just you just trying to act like a victim.
Black folks have been subjugated in the United States for 400 years and have not found any way of trying to get back at white people. Maybe black people are getting exactly what they deserve by being subjugated, look it up, nigga, by white people in America. Maybe this is for years prior to their greatness in their emotep. Before that or during that, maybe they did so much wrong that karma's now getting. How about the fact that cops keep killing blacks? Maybe that's karma. Since every time something bad happens to somebody or you consider bad, which makes no sense that you would consider this bad, but I can afford it. It's not like I'm sitting around saying, oh my God, I'm going to lose my house because of this woman.
Dude, what I love is that you sort of go off topic and sort of go on these long, ridiculous rants rather than dealing with the shit that you do. I mean, yeah, the world's a fucked up place, and people do, you know, people tend to do worse stuff to other people, but we're talking about you specifically. You talk shit about black women, and here's the thing: you sort of flip flop. Anytime it has an issue with black people, it's always, oh, black people do this, black people do that, black people are so terrible. I'm gonna generalize and shit. But anytime it's like white people, like that one white woman you were getting into some shit about, I forgot what her fucking name is, or the drunken peasants. It's always oh, now it's white people, oh, now they're racist against me and all this other shit. You flip flop, you go back and forth. And even then, it's always you flip flop and from this, oh, I'm this independent black guy, I'm smart, I don't need liberals or government or anything like that. But then you go back when it's fucking reversed and act like a victim, saying that you're a product of racism when fucking white people talk about you. You're an ignorant fuck. You don't know how to make up your mind. You don't know how to follow a good narrative. You suck. Like your standard, your motives sort of pander to the lowest common denominator, and because of that, you suck as a person. So just saying.
Not what's going on. It's just me arguing a fact. It's the same way I argue situations about what black women do. It doesn't mean that I'm saying it because I'm having trouble with black women. As most people can see, I don't have any trouble with them personally.
Dude, you've called them the cow of America. You said you call them hoes all the time, and then try to fucking diverge from that and say, oh, well, if you have a problem with me calling you whore, why you ain't talking about the rap efforts calling you whore? As if that's a good justification for what you do. You're an ignorant fuck. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't care about your case. I hope she sues your stupid ass for everything you have. Get fucked. Okay? You're an idiot. I hope your daughters rise above your fucking stupidity. Anyway, let's see what else we got. The Criminal Vision. This looks funny. Hillary Clinton demon-possessed her Caesar.
All right. Hey, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, let me I can play this one.
It's TVC Mario, and you're here for another edition of Satanic Illuminati New World Order Exposed. In today's video, I wanted to do a quick follow-up to a video, well, two videos I did already. This one right here, the Clintons are demon-possessed under MKUltra CIA mind control, and shocking, Hillary demon possession caught on tape. What I did in those videos is I showed you this clip right here, where it's clearly, I mean, something's going on with Hillary over here. Some people think she drank a coffee, and, well, that's not the case. As you can see, the reporter here just kind of like tweaking out, not realizing why she's doing this. So this is a sign that there's something ill with her. So what I did go ahead and talk about in this video here is the fact that politicians and entertainers, for the most part, especially in positions of power at that elite level.
Dude, okay, so she bobbed her head back and forth for all it would be a gift or some other bullshit, or maybe she had some up her fucking nose. Who knows? Saying that she's demon possessed, that's an extraordinary claim. Hopefully you got some extraordinary evidence for that shit.
are considered to be perfect for victimizing in a mind control program, because the elite need to control them. It's part of a Nazi program, MK Ultra. It was brought over with Operation Paperclip back in the day. The United States of America is still continuing in using the Nazi sciences that were developed, these twisted, evil sciences, and one of them is mind control. So what I wanted to do in this video here today is talk about the fact that, was this demon possession a seizure, or was it in fact kind of like both? I believe it was both. If we look here, she's kind of manifesting these signs where, you know, it's like these quick jerks and she just tweaks out. So you can see it. We'll bring it back here. So she tweaks out, freaks out this person.
I mean, for all we know, it could have been a goofy ass nod. Who fucking knows?
Person has this like mini.
And let me just get back to what you said. So she fucking nodded her head a weird fucking way. Therefore, Nazi fucking signs still like used by United States this day for demonic possession of it. Like what? Where's the core? How are you correlating this shit? Like how are you inferring this? Like what?
Epilepsy thing going down. There you go. Shake, shake, shake. And she looks all disoriented and crazy, right? Okay, so what do I believe is going on is a clonic seizure, if anything.
Maybe she's a little drunk. Who fucking, you know, there's a ton of fucking simple explanations on what you're like using.
During a clonic seizure, a person may lose control of bodily functions and begin jerking in various parts of the body. He or she may temporarily lose consciousness, and followed by confusion. So if you see here, this is what I believe to be a clonic seizure. It's not a grand mal. A grand mal, the person will fall on the ground, turn blue sometimes, and it's really crazy. But this just looks like a clonic one where she just tweets out.
Yeah, but that's not enough. You have to suppose demon possession. This is... Okay. That's awesome. Anyway. This has been fun, but I think I'm going to wrap it up. But before that, I'm going to play one more video. Arn Ra was protesting that ARC in I believe Kentucky against Eric Hoven's group. I just think that's pretty fucking interesting. And I'm going to play a bit of it right now. Okay. Okay, let's just close that so there's no noise.
Okay, give me some details on that, because give me some data on that. I mean, I could make the statement, I know it did happen. You're making the statement, I know it did happen. Now, I know I will pay for you to go through that arc and show you the scientific evidence that is there in that arc. Would you like to walk through that with me? I will pay for you. I'll pay for you and for your wife.
So steel rivets.
I'll let somebody else take it first.
All of the modern wood.
I'll let somebody else take it.
The trucks.
You know what?
As opposed
At
to one 600-year-old man
an expert
with three untrained, using only primitive tools from the Stone Age.
Now, how do you know
To
that?
have 1,400 breeding pairs at least,
How do you know that?
which is supposed to be a hell of a lot more. But you know, young Earth creationists don't believe in macroevolution over millions of years, but somehow they do believe in a turbocharged, super, uber, hyper-caffeinated electro-mega evolution.
So
happening in
you
only
are
100
willing to go through that and disprove all the science that's in there. Because
There's
you're
no
a
science
science,
in
right?
it.
You like science.
Right, there's no science.
I love science too. I got one of my signs here that says Christians love science. I love science.
That's an irony.
You,
No, you do not. You absolutely do not love science. We're
Okay, if I
anti-science.
said that to you, well, Aaron, you
So
don't
if you
love
want to
science.
demonstrate how realistic the flood is,
Here. Let's wrap
Yeah, so just to give just to give a bit of context. So they're protesting the Noah's Ark project, basically pointing out that it's a violation of the separation of church and state and that they're getting tax breaks. But more to the point, just completely demolishing this fucking ridiculous son of a con man who's apparently just taking the the family business to whole new levels of bullshit. And Aaron is just completely fucking owning his ass, schooling him pretty easily.
1,400 animals, live animals, not 40 stuffed animals. Have 1,400 live animals. Have a year's supply of fresh water without purifiers. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Salted water, and it only rained for 40 days and 40 nights. They were built for a year. So that means they have to have a year's supply of fresh water. Because there's also a lot of dead things now all over the water. So you have to have fresh water. So on top of that, you also have it was an impossible flood we know didn't happen. We know that from tests and multiple analyses of associated artifacts, we know that people in Western colonies, Native Americans, were already there thousands of years before the flood. You want any civil dialogue? And so we know that those people are still there, who were never drowned out. The Egyptians, too, they didn't drown either. They went right into their second dynasty, as if it never even happened. There are 350 legends of the flood around the world. And there's not one in Japan, because Japan never had a flood legend like that. But the legends they do have are all different. Like in one where you have people turning into fish and then turning back into people, and then another one where 2 people only, and no animals survive this one. There's only 2 people who survive by hiding in a clamshell. So the flood legends are all different, except, you know what? Except when you get into the area of the Iraqi floodplain, which is called Iraqi floodplain for a reason. You know, when I address the flood, that would be in the Bible says that the depth of the flood, the Bible says that the depth of the flood was 15 cubits, or 22 feet, which is the same depth that is given in the Epic of Gilgamesh and Atrahasis. The Sumerian flood, they address that Sumerian flood. Also talk about Utnapishtim, Ziasudra, Atrahasis, and so forth. We know that they're all talking about the same flood. Now, somehow, 15 cubits of...
And he's still responding to him despite making these statements. He's still responding to him, so he can't bitch and moan that he's not having a dialogue with him. So he's just being humbled right here.
Water is supposed to cover Mount Ararat, which stands 2.5 miles high. The problem is you're assuming Mount Ararat existed at that time. So you're telling me that because Mount Ararat is a volcano, correct? And you want to tell me that it just caused this volcano? So a 2.5 mile high volcano just formed just now, and you're going to land a wooden boat on it? No, I'm saying it formed during the flood, under the flood water. People on this boat with these 1,400 breathing bears. So you're making some really bad arguments right now. Really bad arguments. A year's supply of food with that kind of technology. It's not possible. Actually, they could.
I'm going to skip to it.
And you're upset about that? Or are you upset about religion? You said that. That's the only reason it exists. So if it is, then what is that? Tell him there's a secular person because he's caught on the news.
Do you know how many jobs they're creating? Over the next 10 years, they're going to create 20,000.
Talk about the jobs.
Yeah, this is all for Ken Ham's religious bullshit. He actually wanted tax breaks for this.
Are you upset about religion? You said that. That's the only reason it exists. So if it is, then so is lying or is
talk about discrimination? Let's say that he is telling the truth. Then where's the separation of churches?
Why are
his objective is to glorify God, and yours is to glorify no God.
You understand?
Talk about discrimination. The discrimination of job hiring.
Yes, you only hire Christians. You exclude gays, you exclude anybody that doesn't have these fundamental...
Do you think David Silverman would hire me with the American Atheist Association?
Go ask him.
You're not qualified.
Okay, well, if they would hire you, it's up to them.
He would.
If he took state tax funds, they haven't taken one dime from the state. You continue to promote the lie. That's the problem. I've never...
It's actually a lie. They awarded the Ark Park $18 million in tax breaks. So...
You are promoting a lie
right now. You're around a lie. Is there a separation of church and state?
So is there a church and state issue? Wrong. And then you'll never make that point. And then second,
what is the separation of church and state issue?
No, I can do that.
Okay, let's do the hiring process. What's the hiring process? That is a private religious
Then they shouldn't be receiving tax funds.
Okay, private religious organization. Okay, all right.
And let me ask you a question. If you don't hire gays, we gotta keep it civil, so just let's not all this on here. You failed the first wrong. This sounds like Hitler at one time. They got a little up there.
To continue on in the supernatural form. That's every religion.
It's better than believing everything came from nothing.
Evolution is to monster.
No one says everything came from nothing, sir.
science. It's an inescapable fact.
That's not evolution.
The fact that one little bitty museum versus the hundreds of museums that are paid for by tax dollars, which get you guys so upset, shows me that your religious worldview is
We don't
pretty
have a
weak.
religious worldview. I
You
just
do.
demonstrated that. He has to lie about this.
Do you believe that we came from an ape-like ancestor? Do
Can I
you believe?
prove right now that we are still apes? Yes, I can. Which proves the question you just asked.
I don't see
Apes
it.
don't have tails. We're taxonomy.
Yeah. Oh.
Bring it on.
Yeah, Eric, go to a college course, learn some anthropology, and maybe you won't make yourself look like an ass next time. Yeah. Look at this. Completely pwned. That's a good screenshot. I didn't know that they didn't have tails. You know, I went to religious school my whole life, just like my papa did. What a retard. You want to take one of those cancer pills? I'll fucking do better. So, you guys should go and check out Arnrod's video. It's pretty fucking awesome. Let's see. Anything else on tap? Okay. I guess we could end with this quick story. Then I have to go do something else. Oh my god. Go away, random shit. Okay, incoming IDF Chief Rabbi something. Chief Rabbi Colonel Eyal Karim of Israel implied rape during wartime is permissible. So he's going fucking Old Testament or shit. Okay, so some colonel on Monday for the IDF, next chief rabbi, has sparked outrage among female Israeli politicians who point to Karim's history of misogynistic interpretations of Judaism, which include legitimizing the rape of non-Jewish women and girls. Jewish fundamentalism, lovely. The rabbi's 2003 response to a question as to whether it is permitted for the IDF to rape girls is one of the more controversial statements. Although fraternizing with a non-Jewish is a bad thing, it is allowable in war for consideration for the difficulties of the fighters. Karim said, according to the Reese, and because of the success of the collective is what most considers in war, the Torah allows the individual to satisfy his lust in the permitted conditions for the sake of the general success. Wow. He since said his comments were taken out of context, and the IDF echoed this sentiment, which is horseshit. He wished to emphasize the fact that the comment made by him was purely in response to an interpretive question, and in no way whatsoever is in response to a practical religious question. Okay. His controversy extends well beyond the hypothetical views of rape. He's also said women should not be allowed to serve in the military, and has been associated with comments stating that the Torah dictates non-Jews should have less rights than Jews. So yeah, this is an example of first off, this is an example of Jewish fundamentalism. You're using the Torah to justify discrimination against women and all this stuff, the Old Testament bullshit. It's ridiculous, especially since Israel's supposed to be a democracy and everything like that. So it's supposed to have equal rights for women, gays, different tribes and ethnic backgrounds and stuff like this. But this right here demonstrates that it could still permit in society, it could still come about, and it honestly needs to be rectified. It needs to be analyzed and called out so that society could actually get better. If it's going to be a representative for democracy in the Middle East and as an ally to the West. I mean, if it's supposed to be better than Saudi Arabia, it should have better values and not be expressing these ridiculous fundamentalist aspects. It should be more rational and logical than trying to come up with justifications for rape. I think that's ridiculous. So in 2013, Kareem was leading a military rabbinate who published a material outlining such an argument. The concept of that non-Jews have equal rights with Jews in Israel goes against the opinion of the Torah. Yeah. This guy's a total fucking fundie for Judaism, and he needs to be fucked off. Yeah. All right, ran over. I think this has been a pretty good edition of Beyonce Tank number 5. I'd like to thank people who are listening to my podcast. That being said, I'm gonna head off. Thanks everyone. Hail Satan. Love you guys. Ahoo! And later.